This is the exact way I went from 9 to 5 to having complete control over my life, to do whatever, whenever I actually want to.
So before I even got to that point, I was a 9 to 5 engineer. I had no control of my time. I was capped on how much I could make every single month. Whether I worked hard or not, I was in the same amount. And there was no fulfillment. I wasn't building anything. I was just turning up day after day, week after week, month after month, getting told what to do, doing exactly that, and going home. To now, I'm fully transitioned into high-ticket closing. I have full flexibility to work anywhere in the world. I can set my own schedule, how many hours I want to work every single day, and it's uncapped commissions.
So I'm going to go through the exact step-by-step breakdown, the exact process on how you can start from zero and get into that position, and the exact journey that it took me through.
So the bigger picture, right? What is this industry? I'll give you sort of a rundown so you actually understand it before actually going into sort of the roadmap essentially on where to start, how you can obviously progress, and yeah, sort of my journey as well, the process of it. So the bigger picture, right? Currently, this industry now is a multi-billion-pound industry, right? As of now, 2026, as I'm speaking, but projected to be around about £1 trillion industry, right? And that's in 2040. So it's only going to be bigger. It's only going to be better. There's only going to be more money circulating. So if it's time to get into it, it's earlier, so you can obviously be in the flow of that money then. So what is high ticket sales? What is, being a closer and so on? It breaks down into these sort of categories, right? You have your fitness coaches, you have your trading, your e-com, your Amazon FBA, your gurus, all those things, right? AI agencies and so on. You'll have your property mentors, so maybe like Airbnb, joint venture partners, property general, like how to scale with property and so on. Then you have like business mentors, so like how to scale your current online business, how to scale your business and so on, right? So what they look like these, right? People like this, got a lot of followers. They teach people how to make money, right? That's Brett Scales, for example. TGR is a trader. He teaches people how to get into trading. We've got Geronimo. He's someone who teaches people how to set up an AI agency and optimize AI and help people make money that way as well, right? So all these people, they have one thing in common, right? And it's a problem. The common problem is they lack time, and it's physically impossible for them to reply to every single person and actually sell their coaching, sell their service, sell their mentorship to these people, right? Take, Brez, for example, right? 1.2 million followers. He's probably getting thousands and thousands and thousands of views every single day. And he's probably getting thousands of messages every single day. People texting him, I want to join your mentorship. How can I make money online? Help me escape my 9 to 5, whatever it is, right? As you can imagine, these people don't have time to reply to all these people, sat there every single day having thousands of conversations or hopping on calls, taking thousands of calls to sell their service, sell their coaching, sell their mentorship, right? And that's where we come in. They hire high ticket closers, right? As a high ticket closer, you will now get on a call with these people on behalf of one of those, core sellers or mentorships or property entrepreneurs or whatever it is. You'll get on a call with the person interested on behalf of these people. And when you get on the call, now you can have the opportunity to sell their mentorship, sell their coaching to these people. If you do so, you'll earn anywhere from 10 to 17.5% commission based on that mentorship pricing, right? Obviously, every mentorship's different. Property ones are usually higher. You have some then around, but it's anywhere from 2 to 25k plus, okay? You're going to get commission for that, right? So as you can imagine, they've got 1,000 people text them every single day, right? 5k price point. Let's say, with commissions 10 to 17.5%, that's anywhere from 500 to 875, okay? That's how much you can make per call. Now, 2 to 4 closes a week, you're on track to hitting 10k per month. Only one call that closes per week, you're earning the exact same, or if not more than a 9 to 5 anyway. Now, if you can imagine, you're going to be taking a lot of calls, right? You're probably anywhere from 8 hours or 6 hours marked up in your calendar per day. So that's essentially, right, 6 potential calls or 8 potential calls. Now, let's say only 3 of them show and only one of them you take a call with, right? Or you close them. That's still 500 for that day or 875 for that day. Now, over the month, you're going to take anywhere from, probably like 20 calls a week. So anywhere from, call it 60 to 80 calls a month. And in total, you need to close 10 of them, realistically, 10 to 16 of them to make 10k in a month. Now, that's a very low close rate or close percentage. So it's very possible to hit those high numbers, essentially, right? So you're probably thinking, like, what is a closer? What is sales? Like, what do you actually have to do on these calls? So to be a closer, right, you don't need to, like, find these people to buy them, like, sell the mentorship to. You don't need to outbound. You don't need to, try and find these people to sell, right? These are all warm leads, warm people, inbound leads that are booked straight into your calendar, right? They've watched this person for probably months on ends, all these YouTube videos, all the Instagram reels, all the TikTok reels, whatever it is, right? All their content they've consumed. So these people are really warm. They really want to do it. And as a closer, there's two things that you need to help create a change, right? That's stopping these people actually taking action and starting, essentially. That's fear and that's clarity, right? Fear, as in terms of, let's say it's a 9-to-5 worker and they want to get into trading. The mentorship costs 5K to learn. They're probably scared to spend the 5K because they only earn 2 to 3K per month. So as a closer, you'll help them obviously come over that fear, allow them to obviously make that change to better their life, essentially. Or the other thing for these people is they just need a bit more clarity, more about, like, the deliverables, right? Like, some people will just come on board because they just want to know exactly, like, how much coaching is it, how is it going to work, and so on, and then they'll pay. So that's two things you'll do as a closer to help create change, right? Either letting people overcome that fear that's held them back, or giving them clarity on exactly what the mentorship is, the coaching entails, and so on, right? As a closer, then you'll help guide them through a process to allow them to make that decision to better them, essentially. Like I said, they've spent hours watching the person's content, they filled out an application form, they've watched multiple videos, they've been back and forth texting in the DMs. Look at it like this, right? We as a closer, we are putting them in first gear, right? Allowing them to actually move forward. Otherwise, they're just stuck in neutral, just revving, and they're going nowhere. So all we do as a closer, we just help them put that into first gear. Once we've done that, obviously then off they go, perfect. But us doing that, allowing people to get into first gear, we get paid hefty for it. So the two sort of paths in high ticket sales, right? You can be a setter or you can be a closer. So the two paths, let's say you're a setter. The path as a setter, you will reply to all these messages in the DMs, right? So you'll log on to the Instagram account and you will reply to all these people texting said person. So TJR, for example, that big trader with 1 million followers. What they'll do then, their whole aim is to qualify that person so they have money and they actually are interested in sort of maybe hopping on a call and discussing more about it. If they book an appointment then for the closer, they'll get 5% commission. Only if the closer actually closes that deal and sells that person. You know, they can book an appointment. If that closer doesn't sell that person, they won't get paid anything. Okay, so they only get paid on what that closer actually closes. So they'll book an appointment, get 5% commission. They book 20 appointments, 5 sales at a 5K price point. They can make £1,250. You know, it's very good to get into. Definitely good to start at, essentially, right? Because you're just spending time in the DMs, essentially. It's just a very time-based thing. Just replying to a load of messages and just making sure these people are qualified for the closer. The second path then is the closer path. So as a closer, your calls then will get booked into your calendar. So you don't have to do anything. They just turn up in your calendar and they're booked. You will then take the prospect through a sales process. So that sales process, you will allow them to obviously be sold, essentially. We can then close them and we'll earn 10 to 17.5% commission. We collect payment on the call. So the exact same 5 sales at a 5K price point. Instead of 1,250, we're now making anywhere from 2,500 to 4,375. Okay, so a lot more money compared to obviously, you know, doing the same thing essentially, right? One call closed can be 500 for a closer, but for a setter it can only be 250. So yeah, if you look at it, right, let's say your calendar's open for 6 calls, 6 are booked into the calendar, perfect. 4 of them show up, 70% show rate. 1 of them closes, 25% close rate, which is quite awful actually, quite low in the industry. That's £500 a day. Okay, like I said, not every day you're going to close everyone. It could go 5 days you don't close anyone. It could go 1 day you close 4 people and you make £1,000, £2,000, whatever it is, right? That's the beauty of it. You're in control of how much you can make. It's all up to you. So yeah, realistically looking at it, 20 to 24 calls a week. You essentially need to close 1 to match a week's pay from a 9 to 5. Very doable, right? If you learn the skill set, And again, these people are warm. They want to join the mentorship. You've just got to help them get over that fear or give them more clarity in exactly what it is they want to do. And yeah, top closers will make anywhere from 10 to 30k per month. Obviously, it varies depending on the month. But yeah, that's the sort of the standards you can sort of hit, especially in this industry, which is very fast growing. So obviously, after that, right, learning, sort of understanding what sales is, high ticket sales especially, the closer path, the setter path. It's obviously the sales process, right, as a closer. Exactly what does it look like? How is it sort of structured? What are you actually doing on these calls when you hop on with these people? So the sales process, right? Stage one will be finding the purpose, right? So you've just hopped on a call with a random person you've never met before, but they're interested in TGR's trading course or whatever it is. You've obviously got to take them through a nice structure, a framework, so you can tick all the boxes to allow them to actually drop £5,000 at the end of the call, right? You're just meeting someone, 45 minutes later, they're spending 5k. You've got to go through a structure and you've got to do it properly. So stage one is all about finding their purpose, right? Very curious. Again, you've just met them. Like, why are they even on the call? Have that curiosity. What are they running away from as well? And 9 times out of 10, people will run away quicker than running towards something, right? So this can be stuff like they're trying to leave their job. They're trying to have flexibility in their life. They have no location freedom. They go to the same place for the last 10 years and they're bored of it. They want more money. They want more freedom, essentially, right? And the good thing and the important thing about this is always get time frames on all these things, right? And the reason being, because it sets us up for the next stage when we understand why they've been waiting so long to actually take action, if they want more, or if they want more from, like, obviously what they want in life, but also what they're running away from, right? Look at it logically, right? Right. So they're telling you're working 160 hours a month. You have limited time to spend with their parents, their family, and so on. And that's gone on for 3 years, but they still haven't done anything. Why? Do you know what I mean? You've got to have that curiosity. It doesn't make sense. Then you'll move on to stage 2 once you've sort of understand their purpose, like the whole reason why they're doing it. Perfect. Now what's actually holding them back? So they're limiting belief. Stage 2 is limiting belief. So what's held them back? What excuses are they telling themselves? A lot of people would either externalize things. Well, actually, they will externalize things. Some people will just, give it to you and just internalize it and say, yeah, do you know what? I've been scared and yeah, I've been scared. Some people will make excuses. Oh, I don't have time. I don't have money. All these things, right? Right, you don't have time. Okay, prioritize more time. I don't have money. Okay, find ways to make more money. Work more hours, whatever it is, right? So we need to obviously cipher, essentially, if it's external or if it's internal. Normally, it comes out of fear, right, all the time. People don't want to spend 5-10 grand to learn something. It's not something that's comfortable, right? So that's what we're here to do, obviously guide them through that process, make a better decision, on their behaviours, in their beliefs, and so on, right? Then understand the cost of them carrying on the same way they are now, essentially. Then you'll move on to stage 3, which is identity. So identity is, again, who they are now and who they want to become. They're 2 different people. If they carry on with the same behaviors, beliefs, and standards of who they are now, they're going to stay that person. So we need to have them visualize a different sort of identity so they can make different decisions, they can make different behaviors, they can have different beliefs, and they have different standards themselves to become the person they actually want to become. So we future pace this to allow them to visualize that person who's overcome that fear and now has XYZ. Okay? Proper have them visualize it. Identity is so strong, especially on these calls, because that's what's going to make people change. The course could have, every single day they do one-to-one coaching. Cool. But are they going to spend 5 grand on that? Probably not. But are they going to spend 5 grand on becoming the person they want for their family? Probably, right? So identity is so important. But also, like, holding themselves to a high standard to that identity. If you do the same things every day, you're going to get the same results, right? So you got to start acting like the person that they want to become, who's already got that result. And the only way to do that is becoming that identity. So that's why we use identity in these sales calls. Then you'll move on to stage 4, which is commitment. So, like, are they actually committed now to becoming that new version of them, right? That identity they want to become. The one that has higher standards, the one that has no excuses anymore. Are they committed to being the person who thinks, acts in alignment to the version of them they actually want to become, right? It's so important because they can tell you all these things, but if they're not committed to being it, they're not gonna buy, right? They're not gonna drop 4, 5, 6 grand at the end of the call. So getting commitment and constantly getting commitment throughout the call will psychologically as well allow them to start acting like, right, what does that person I want to become? How do they think? Are they committed to this? Yes, right, I'm going to be committed as well. Once they're committed and you've got the green light to go ahead, essentially, then you move on to pitch. So the pitch is the solution to their problems, right? Everything they've spoke about, wanting more, running away from their job they hate, becoming this better person, and has higher standards for themselves, and they're committed to being it. Now this pitch is that bridge to being that person, to that person who has that life, right? So this is where you'll show them like the program, the mentorship, and how that is going to help them get the outcome that they're looking for, right? And obviously then you could show stuff like case studies, previous people in similar situations, so it relates more to them. This is literally the bridge, right? They're here, they want to get to here. The pitch is the bridge, right? So you got to obviously make sure you bridge that gap. Then you go for the close. So you've sort of understood now that how they're going to get to where they want to go. Now it's time to draw the line in the sand, get them to make a change, and obviously get them to pay then, however much the mentorship is. Tie them down, ally them to everything they actually want to become, right? Psychologically, these hard conversations, the momentum, right, is high. So this is where you want to collect payment, right? They've said about all this person they want to become and how our mentorship and the program is exactly what they're looking for and it's going to help them get to it. Now we want to collect payment, right? It's probably quite emotional as well. So yeah, it's the best time to obviously ask for the money and so on. So yeah, the final stage before they step into everything essentially they want to achieve. Now the good thing about this is you're actually helping them, right? As a sales rep, you're not just collecting the money and that's it. Yes, obviously it's good, you can make money, but these people have been stuck in for example, stuck in a job for the last 10 years or 5 years, and they haven't made a change because of fear. You've helped them overcome that fear. So now they're on a different path, right, in life. You have helped them to do that. That's been keeping them stuck for 5 years. So if you can do that, you've helped someone essentially, right? But obviously you've got paid because you've got that skill to do so as well. So that's the sales process, right? So very important, obviously, because if you don't have that, you're not going to make any sales and you're not going to make any money. After the sales process, it's all about finding your first offer to sell for, right? So, you can have the skills, all the skills in the world. If you don't have an offer to sell for, essentially, you're not going to make any money. So this is important to obviously be able to get your foot in the door and start actually using that skill set you've had in real life, right? Gameplay, game action gameplay. So the different types of ways to land these offers, right? First one would be like outreach, right? It's a volume-based game. You text these creators, these big people. You DM them with your experience and, maybe some clips of you and so on. It's volume-based, right? It takes a while. You can send hundreds, 200, 300 messages, not get a reply, and then all of a sudden you get one reply. I remember when I first in the industry, I sent probably about 400 or 500 messages, didn't get one reply. On like the 550, whatever it was, I had a reply. Then I landed the role. So again, it's a volume-based game. It takes a while, but again, at the start, what else have you got to do, right? You've learned the skill. Now it's time to actually make money. So you want to do that. You want to show your hunger as well. It's not really effective in terms of anymore, and especially like 2026, because a lot of the people who are going to be replying are probably going to be a setter. It's not going to be the actual owner. So it's kind of hard because you've got a gatekeeper there. Second step then would be like School, WAP, and YouTube, those platforms. Now, if you type in trading on any of these platforms, load of trading creators are going to come up, or Amazon FBA, or property people, whatever it is. Obviously, then you can direct contact them through those like platforms, because they're probably going to reply then, because it's their personal accounts, not a setter, which if you just did normal outreach. So probably more effective, but again, more niche. And it's still outreach as well, right? Second one will be like things like LinkedIn, job boards and so on. So LinkedIn, you have different job boards. These can be like online job hub and so on. So these are more better because they're advertised already for you, right? Like these high ticket sale closing roles, setter roles, they're already advertised. So all you do is got to apply to them, join the interview and so on. So a lot easier because these offers are existing. With outreach, you can text them and they could just say, yeah, we're not hiring. So, you kind of like a dead end tunnel. So with this, at least they're hiring. You've just got to stand out to other competitors or other closers or whatever it is to make you better, right? Or you go and join the interview and then you need to stand out on that interview. So definitely better than these two. And again, if you optimize your profiles, your LinkedIn profiles, and so on, you're active on them, you've got loads of connections, landing a role comes very, very easy, right? It just takes that time, especially when starting. Now, the king of all kings is leveraging a network. Now, myself personally, can't remember the last time I did any of these. It's all about leveraging a network now, right? Like, I've got people who run offers. I know people who are on offers. I get people texting me, hey, are you looking for a closing role? Happy to have you on board, right? So leveraging your network is the most important. Having a community where they post like jobs in there, right? Or knowing 200 or 150 people who know different people and they're looking for people, right? Like I got one of my boys always sends me sort of messages, are you looking for a closing role? Or should we hop on this offer, and so on. So that's the king, because once you're known and you've got all these connections, you're never not gonna be able to land an offer, right? It's just when you're not known and you're just sending random like messages, DMs, and so on, that's when it's hard, right? So leverage a network, get inside a community that have a load of people, a load of closers, a load of setters, people you're trying to become, people you want to be around. That's the best way you're going to land these roles, right? So time frame, right, of development. How to go from like dead zero, like me, I was an engineer when I first started, to fully in high ticket sales, and obviously like the standard on how you're going to sort of make money as well, right? How it sort of develops through time, through months, and so on. How much money you can actually sort of make from it as well. So month one, this is like evidence it works, right? You're making anywhere from 500 to 1,000. Now, this is just proof of concept that, let's say you've bought into a mentorship to learn. Now you've made a bit of money back. You know that it's actually possible to make money online. That's the whole purpose of it, right? 500,000. I know some boys who've made a lot more. But again, I'm just trying to show a realistic time frame for you, because that's probably what like 95% people who come into the industry are going to actually achieve, right, in month one. Month two then will be a bit more, 1,500, 2,500. You're learning on the go, right? You're starting to pick it up. You're going through the sales process, but you're still learning, right? Month three, 2,800 to 4,000. Now your understanding comes clearer, right? You're understanding why you're asking questions. You're not just sort of reading a script or framework. You're sort of understanding the process. You're a bit more confident on these calls as well. First time meeting people, you probably get quite nervous. Now you're kind of, you're confident. You understand exactly what you need to do on these calls. Month six then, you're a familiar face now. Your name's out there in the industry. You're fairly good. You could probably go through a sales process quite neatly, and you could probably handle a few objections as well. Month 9, 7,500 to 10K. So this is like high level sales tactics. You've got a good name for yourself. A load of people know you. You've probably gone on a few trips with some of the boys you've learnt with as well, to Spain, Thailand, whatever it is. And you're sort of starting to understand the process now, right? You're using high level sales tactics. You're not just reading from a script or framework. You understand how to handle objections. You are getting there. You're getting there. Then month 12, 15K plus. Now, this is where you have the sales process and objections on lock. You're not nervous when you hear an objection anymore. You're confident, right? You understand the full thing. And different business opportunities come through to you. So to your network. It could be you've started your own offer. It could be, you're a sales manager. It could be, I don't know, you're running multiple offers, whatever it is, right? This is where you now obviously get into a good position in terms of having a good skill set, which one now you can leverage that sales skills to start your own business or to go down a different route, or you've got a lot of capital behind you now to use it, again, go into different businesses. Like I said in my previous video, the middleman, people want to be person B a lot, right? They want to have their business, they want to have Amazon FBA, ecom, property, and so on. But you don't have the capital, number one, but also you don't have the sales skills to actually be able to have a business. Now at month 12 plus, you're in the position where you have capital and you have a sales skills. So now you can obviously start your own business.